Assalamu alaikum, dear students. It's me, Muhammad Zubair Khan, and today we are here in the fifth week of Statistic 1. So, this is the topic that we are going to discuss in the fifth week of Statistic 1. In previous class, we discussed the cumulative frequency, the tabulated form of the frequency distribution, how to make the tables of the frequency distribution, and how to understand the different components of the table of the frequency distribution. Like we studied, we converted, we calculated the different elements of the frequency distribution. Frequency distribution by itself, a tabulated form of the data. So there we have studied the class marks, the class limits, the class boundaries, the class interval, the less than cumulative frequency, the more than cumulative frequency. So after the completion of the the frequency distribution table, today we will start the graphical presentation, because we have studied in the definition of statistic that it's representing the data basically in tabulated form as well as graphical form. So after tabulation, this is the graphical form through which we can represent the data. In graphical presentation, we will discuss the different graphs and different charts. So the first chart, that is called a simple bar chart. Bar basically means a rectangle. You can call it simple rectangles. Rectangle means mustatil. So the graphical presentation of a data. So the first one is a simple bar chart, or you can say simple rectangular chart. Simple rectangular chart we can draw if the data related to a single characteristic. Single characteristic means if the data are related to only one characteristic. For example, if we are talking about only one variable. So if the data having a single variable, so we can say that we can represent that data by drawing what? A simple bar chart. What we are doing in simple bar chart, remember, in simple bar chart we are making the bars, we are making the rectangles vertically or horizontally, but I will show you the vertical method, that how we can represent the data by vertical method. In this xy plane we will represent the vertical method to find out or to represent a data related to a single characteristic. So a data related to a single characteristic can be represented by a simple bar chart, the first point. The second point, when you are going to draw the bars, when you are going to draw the rectangles, so you need to maintain the width of the rectangle. The width of the rectangle should be equal. This is the second point. And the gaps amongst the rectangles should be equal. The width of the bar or the width of the rectangles should be equal in graphical presentation of simple bar chart. The second point is that when the bars are you are going to draw on x-axis, so the gap amongst the bars should be equal. This is the third point. And the fourth point, you will give height to the bars according to their frequency, according to their values which is given. For example, here we have an example. Draw a simple bar chart of following data which is related to the population of 4 cities. Suppose we have 4 cities A, B, C, D. These are the cities. And we have population in millions. Population in millions. So some figures, some values are given for each city having its own frequency. This population basically representing what? Frequency. And if we need to draw this tabulated form, if you see, it's a tabulated form of the data, but we will convert this tabulated form into graphical form. Graphical form basically very much useful for understanding, to represent the huge or the large number of items, the large number of values in large figures, we can represent it graphically to understand. So it's very simple to understand. Beside, if you are representing a result in digits in large numbers, but if you draw it simply, so it's very much easy to understand, and it's very much clear. So basically, a simple bar chart or graphical presentation is the visualized form of the data. It's giving a data into visualization form. So we can convert this data. I will try to make the bars according to the frequencies of the cities. So if a city A is given, so first you will draw population on y-axis, and you will draw cities on x-axis, and you will try to search out the highest value, that is 50, then give a proper unit on y-axis to cover up to 50. Now if we give from 0 to 10, then 10 to 20, then 20 to 30, you can give 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15 also, but it will take a lot of time and it will take a lot of space. That's why you should try to give one unit equal to 10 units. So 0 to 10, then 10 to 20, then 20 to 30. Now by this way you can draw the graph. Look at the city A population, that is 30. So just give height up to 30 to a rectangle and make a rectangle. Make a rectangle like this. If you use the scale, or if you use the ruler, or if you use the khatkash, so you can easily draw it clearly. But let me try to draw it in rough position. So otherwise you should try by yourself by taking a scale or foot, so you can draw it very much clearly. This is the first one for city A. The second one is the height up to 40. So give height up to 40. Now this is the second one. The third one is 25. So 25 lying between 30 and 20. So it becomes like this. Then the last one is 50, 25 and 50. So give height to the bar up to 50, and then make it like this. Now if you see, you have different bars, then you can give a single design or a single color to make it more accurate, to make it more visualized form. And then you should also give the indication that this sign, basically indication what? Population in millions, and it's representing by this particular design. We have a single characteristic, that's why we will show it. The gap should be equal amongst the bar, and the width of the bar should be equal. The width, as by the Akrakam Bhasha. Width of the bar, if you see the width of the bar, so it should be equal, and the gap amongst the bars should be equal. These 2 points are very much important. If you are making one bar with the large width, another bar with a small width, so it will not give you a proper visual form. By this way you can represent a data, and this is basically called what? A simple bar chart. Then you can arrange it like this, so it will be very much easy to understand. On x-axis we have cities, on y-axis we have population. So this is the way that how you can represent a data by simple bar chart. Remember again that if a data related to a single characteristic means, here we have population. Population is a single characteristic. That's why we can represent it by making simple or separate bars that will represent the data. So by this way you can represent the data. In the next video, inshallah, I will solve an example. I will try to draw the multiple bar chart. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.